In letter 9 of the Christ letters, a fundamental reason is given for why Christ cannot return in a physical, bodily form as many might expect or hope. The text states quite clearly, I, the Christ, have come through the medium of these letters because I cannot return in bodily form or take on human personality again, since I reside in and am myself of such fine and heightened vibrational frequencies of consciousness that no human physical form could contain my spiritual consciousness. This speaks to the immense spiritual evolution and expansion of consciousness that Christ embodies. Imagine trying to pour the vastness of an ocean into a single cup. Similarly, the vibrational frequency, the essence of Christ's being, is now so refined and elevated that the limitations of a human physical form simply could not contain it. It's not a matter of unwillingness, but rather a question of spiritual physics, of the very nature and of existence at these higher frequencies. The letter goes on to explain the alternative means by which these teachings are being conveyed. My only means of reaching you has been through the medium of a human being, sensitive, clairaudient, obedient, and dedicated to God, born to be the channel through whom I could watch the tumult of her active, eventful life through world events. This highlights the crucial role of a human vessel, a recorder as the letter calls her, who has been prepared and attuned to receive and transmit these higher truths. This individual has undergone a significant process of purification and deprogramming, experiencing the complexities and challenges of modern human existence. This intimate understanding of our conflicts and pain, intensified by technological advancements and shifting values, was essential for the Christ to communicate in a way that resonates with our current condition. Without this direct insight into the modern human condition, the letter explains that these letters could not have been written in a form which is intended to be helpful to the human condition at this time. The very fact that these teachings are accessible to us now is a testament to this unique form of communication. The letter details the extensive preparation of this recorder, a process that involved thorough deprogramming of her mind and full cleansing of old concepts and exposure to every type of human experience. This journey, culminating in the death of her ego and mental and emotional bondage to materialism, allowed her to gradually align with the consciousness frequencies of universal love and experience, universal consciousness. Therefore, the inability to return in bodily form is not a detachment or a withdrawal, but rather a consequence of a profound spiritual evolution. The Christ's consciousness now exists at a level that transcends the limitations of physical embodiment. The means of connection has shifted to an inner awakening within each of us, facilitated by these teachings received through a dedicated human instrument. This understanding invites us to look beyond the expectation of a physical return and instead focus on cultivating the inner receptivity to the Christ consciousness that resides within us all. In bringing our reflections to close, we can see how letter 9 of the Christ letters weaves together profound insights. We've explored the understanding that Christ's presence is no longer a singular physical form but an indwelling consciousness. We've recognized the universal applicability of these teachings to every aspect of our lives and across all nations, guiding us towards harmonious existence. We've discovered the spiritual significance of laughter as a divine release and the crucial role of inner stillness over active imagination in spiritual exercises. The letter has challenged us to confront the illusion of separation and racism and embrace our inherent oneness. Finally, we've contemplated the journey of the soul through reincarnation as a process of learning and evolution towards the light.
Letter 9 of Christ's letter opened with a powerful statement and unifying thread that ties together all the previous messages. It says, I have come again. This letter will bring together to the loose end of other letters and present them within world context, showing how these techniques are relevant to every aspect of our earthly lives and to all nations. The letter draw a crucial distinction between past understanding of divine law and the true nature of spiritual laws that contrasts the "you shall not, if you do, this will B. The penalty approach a more profound understanding because you and your place in earthly existence have been created in this way. If you work harmoniously with the laws of your existence, you will open the entire system of soul, mind, emotion, body, and personal circumstance to the consistent inflow of divine consciousness of your life force. The letter clearly outlines the natural consequence of aligning these laws of existence. It states that the fruit of your disciplined behavior will return to bless and load you with health, harmony, and prosperity. Ignoring this law lead to turmoil, difficult climatic condition, pests in your crops, financial disaster, and stressful lives. This isn't about arbitrary punishment, but rather to inherit repercussions of living in or out of harmony with the fundamental principles of creations. The text reminds us that the very purpose of Christ's previous mission was to show them how they themselves creating their own misery. This current communication through these letters echoes the same intention expressly to enable to reach true, consistent peace of mind and spiritual love, joy, inner healing of mind, emotion, and body. The letter then critically examined how religious institutions have often misrepresented the core message. It challenged the concept of distant, demanding God who requires worship and pleasing through external rituals. Instead, it emphasized the Father who supplies all needs, who is both transcendent to people and also within them, a universal creator accessible to all. The teaching of underscore the importance of direct relationship with the divine, moving away intermediaries and the notion of appeasement through sacrifice. As the letter states, forgiveness is received according to people's willingness to forgive others, and individuals are encouraged to approach the Father directly, pray in simple terms, asking what they need in life, with the assurance of being heard through unwavering faith. Ultimately, Letter 9 emphasized that these teachings are not confined to any specific time, place, or group. They are fundamental principles governing our existence, applicable to every individual's life, and crucial for harmonious function of all nations. By understanding the living in accordance with these laws of existence, we unlock our potential for well-being, both individually and collectively, paving the way of more peaceful and prosperous world for all.
Letter 9 offers a fascinating perspective on something we often take for granted: laughter. It describes laughter not just as human reaction, but as a fundamental consciousness impulse that ripples across your skies, from one planet to another, through your Milky Way and out into the furthest reaches of infinity. As infinite as divine consciousness, it came into existence at the moment of the Big Bang. The letter defines laughter as a spontaneous consciousness response to a situation where two events or two incidents or two people do not, in the natural order of things, belong together. They are strangely at odds or in opposition to each other. It's a ripple effect felt throughout living beings capable of perception, and crucially, it eliminates stress, which is described as inimical to health and contrary to the will of divine consciousness. A genuine laugh, the letter explained, begins as a rush of rippling consciousness through the head, bringing a lightening of the entire consciousness. This is followed by the physical ripple effect on the diaphragm to break up any tension and to smooth away any residue of bitterness. Even the exhaustion we sometimes feel after prolonged laughter is accompanied by a sense of well-being, highlighting its power to script loosens true spiritual growth, laughter bubbles up spontaneously and brings a wonderful feeling of release. This ripple effect isn't just physical. It raises your consciousness frequencies of vibration because laughter is directly of divine consciousness. Therefore, laughter is. This connection to divine consciousness through laughter also ties into the idea of our inner child. As we raise our vibration through these teachings and meditation, old mental patterns became uncomfortable. The latter suggests that in seeking divine assistance to release these patterns, we'll find that laughter becomes more and more spontaneous. This lightness of thought and increased appreciation for simple joys lead us back to a child condition which views the world with a happy, inquiring gaze, a state of wonderful and joy that is likened to entering the kingdom of heaven. The latter then moves on to a crucial point about spiritual exercises. It cautions against practices that involve imagining certain conditions, starting that if you follow these instructions, you will only keep yourself rooted in the material dimensions of ego. Imagination has nothing to do with spirit. The text clarifies that imagination is the exercise of your own human consciousness, which you should be trying to transcend by entering into higher levels of spiritual consciousness. True spiritual levels are not those of mental imagery but of reality. Regular spiritual levels of frequencies of spiritual consciousness vibrations, specifically those of divine spiritual consciousness, not earthly mental constructs. Therefore, the latter advises us to beware whom you would accept as your teacher. The key to accessing divine consciousness is not through active imagination, but through absolute stillness and silence of your consciousness. This stillness will open the door to the entry of divine consciousness into your mind, which is the true aim of spiritual seeking. The analogy of needing a drink and going directly to the lake rather than imagining it powerfully illustrates this point. Imagination is not spiritual. It is the exercise of your will within your present level of consciousness. In the essence, letter 9 represents laughter as a divine release that elevates our consciousness, guiding us towards a childlike state of joy. However, when it comes to spiritual growth, it directs us away from the realm of imagination and towards the profound stillness and silence within, as the true gateway to experiencing divine consciousness. The relevance of these teachings to all nations, it becomes clear that these emphasize unity, compassion, and understanding that transcends cultural and political boundaries, offering a pathway towards a harmonious and sustainable global community.
Letter 9 addresses the deeply concerning issue of racism with a perspective that delves into the underlying consciousness behind it. It begins by stating, "For you have come to understand the truth concerning who you really are. I want to talk to you about the worldwide concern regarding racism." The letter suggests that this talk of racism arises only out of the ego drive of those people who have felt themselves despised and rejected because of their racial differences. These feelings, rooted deeply in the self, can persist even when circumstances improve, leaving a lingering sense of inadequacy and resentment. It's important to understand, as the letter points out, that these feelings of inferiority are not unique to any single group. They are experienced by those subjected to caste systems, class distinctions, in any situation where differences are used to create separation in a sense of lesser status. These feelings of inadequacy, the letter contends, is endemic to human race as a whole. The feeling of worthlessness the letter proposes stems from a deep awareness of sight that ego behavior is contrary to the highest principle of human existence. When this inherent feeling is amplified by comparisons with those perceived as more successful, it intensifies into agonizing overthoughts. The latter offers a unique perspective on overcoming these painful feelings. It suggests reaching a realization that historical ethnic upheavals, removals, and arrival of strangers and aliens, while often traumatic, have ultimately led to the present distribution of roles and statuses. Therefore, the path to healing involves reflection and a sincere acknowledgement. Lord, I am sincerely glad and happy that all these terrible things took place. Because of them, I am where I am today. I thank you for the strength and inspiration to show my basic equality with everyone else. I send my thoughts of love and gratitude to those who laid the foundations of my present good all those many, many years ago. The letter also introduces the concept of reincarnation as it relates to these issues, stating, "It is a fact that people are reincarnated into different strata of society and different races to enable the soul to learn some meaningful lesson as it journeys upwards towards Christ's consciousness." This perspective suggests a cyclical nature to experience, where those who inflicted suffering may, in future lives, experience the other side of oppression. Ultimately, the letter returns to a fundamental principle: you, yourself, create your tomorrows. It urges forgiveness, stating, "Forgive, for you have no true knowledge of the journey of your soul through many centuries of early existence. You have no knowledge of what you, yourself, did in lives gone past. Forgive the present, forgive the past, and accept that much good has come out of it. Learn to bless and love those whom you thought injured you or your ancestors." The core message of Letter 9 is that all beings originated from divine consciousness and are united at their deepest level in oneness. Racism stems not from skin color, but from differences in consciousness shaped by genetics, culture, and personal conditioning. True unity can be achieved by elevating our thoughts and values, focusing on inner qualities rather than outward appearance. We've learned that true unity goes beyond appearances, and in that, racism isn't rooted in skin color, it's rooted in consciousness. At our core, we all came from the same divine source, and what separates us is how we think, feel, and see each other, which challenges us to look within and confront our own biases, to choose to see the light in every soul, not the shade of their skin, to live with awareness, love, and respect in every interaction. Because unity begins when we see through the eyes of consciousness.
Letter 9 delves into the often debated concept of reincarnation, offering a specific perspective on how it functions within the framework of spiritual evolution. It addresses a potential question directly. There are many who will ask how it is that at the moment of conception, a soul can be drawn from divine consciousness, but the body itself may be used as a vehicle of self-expression in its coming lifespan by another soul who is ready to reincarnate. The letter clarifies that when a soul is ready to enter earthly conditions on its next span of earthly learning, the soul is drawn to the parent or parents who can offer those conditions which will enable it to take its necessary steps forward in spiritual evolution. At the moment of conception, the soul fuses its personal consciousness of past lives and past spiritual progress into the concept process and becomes the soul of the fertilized ovum. Interestingly, the text notes that some mothers are almost immediately aware of an alien consciousness within them, and that this new consciousness can significantly impact the pregnancy. It emphasizes that reincarnation is not haphazard or without a consistent plan directing its action. The purpose itself is always to provide the journeying soul with many entirely different experiences which will enlarge the soul's hidden store of worldly knowledge. These varied experiences, the letter explains, involve stimulating and necessary changes of scenery and family and environmental personalities, of characteristics drawn from genetics. However, always that thin thread of the soul's journey will be buried in the subconscious mind and will surface to influence the present incarnation, although the person may be wholly unaware of it. This explains that persistence of certain characteristics, views, or ambitions across lifetime. To illustrate this, the letter uses a vivid analogy. If you can imagine a soul first plunging into a red pond and coming out dyed red, and entering life as a red person with all its natural red racial tendencies and educated in childhood to live red lives, you will understand that the soul lives that life with much that is red in his consciousness. Next, he plunged into a red pool and emerged blue with all the characteristics of blueness and the lifestyle of blue people. When he lives the world again, he will have accumulated phase of blue consciousness mixed with the red, and so it goes, life after life. The same soul growing through differing experiences of colors, religions, status, marriages, sex, countries, and politics. The latter suggests that eventually the soul wakes up to the fact that this is happening to him, and he decides he is tired of all the various colors combination he wants only to ascend into light. Then his true spiritual journey starts, and gradually, by moving into one life after another, he shreds the red, blue, yellow, green, black, brown, and purple accumulated in past lives until all last freed of all the illusions and false concepts of past lives. His soul steps out into light, and reincarnation is no longer necessary. The letter ends by connecting this journey with the ever-present Christ consciousness. As I said in this letter, I am with you, always radiating the truth of being in consciousness. The more you read these letters, the more you will become aware of my presence and my love, and through this conversation, my loving purpose for you will be fulfilled. Only you will be able to break the contract. I am radiating love no matter how you feel. I leave you with my love and longing for your speedy journey into spiritual life. As a group, engaging with letter 9 has been a profound experience. We've each connected with different phases of this powerful message, and through our shared reflections, we hope we've illuminated its relevance and depth. Thank you for taking the time to join us on this journey of exploration.